Hi, I'm Linda Fox in the Phocuswire studio, and I am joined by Christian Watts, CEO of Magpie, and Mario Gavira, CMO of Travelier.
Yeah.
Welcome, both of you. Great to have you here. So just to set the scene for the audience a little, the situation is the following. Mario wrote a fine opinion piece that AI is probably not going to disrupt a certain section of the industry, which is the big OTAs, the big hotel groups, and the kind of big suppliers, that the whole kind of, it's so operationally difficult to get there in terms of bookings that, you know, we're quite some time off that, and that there are significant moats for the large players. Christian shot back with, actually, none of those moats really exist. You disputed most of them. In fact, you took down, you know, the loyalty, the bundling, and
unique content.
Yeah, the unique content. So we're just here to try and bring that discussion on a bit more. And I'm going to start with you. Those operational difficulties, challenges, whatever, how do you think the industry is going to overcome those?
So the operational challenges, when you framed it from an agentic commerce point of view, I would argue is that there are no major challenges to tackle, right? Because the current status quo allows the leading OTAs, the leading hotel brands to basically keep growing without having agentic commerce as a major threat, or basically being able to use their existing marketing capabilities, tech stack capabilities, unique content capabilities to expand the pie. And to allow that agentic commerce that will come to a certain degree doesn't bypass them, but they become basically an essential layer of that whole value chain. So that's for me the status. And again, we are all talking obviously hypothesis here, but I have strong conviction that there are a number of elements that I raised in my article which allow me to say that the big ones, with strong brands, strong loyalty, strong capabilities to create unique content and to bundle it. These guys are in a good shape.
They're pretty safe. Okay, so the less operational risk.
How many big ones can survive?
I mean, at the end, let's put it this way, it depends on which vertical we look at, right?
Say hotels, let's just say hotels for sake of argument.
I don't know by heart the big hotel chains, but I would argue that probably the top 20 who have a significant scale and have built a strong brand and have obviously also a loyal customer base to a certain degree. These guys will be fine, because at the end, you know, agentic will be another marketing channel for them.
And another booking channel, presumably.
Marketing and booking, exactly.
And won't the big get bigger anyway?
Yeah, travel's going to grow. I think we would probably agree on that. Let's start with something we can agree on, shall we? One thing.
That's right.
I did write down convergence here.
Yeah, so yeah, the pie is going to grow. I guess I think of it in terms of first principles, right? The Google search that we've been through for the last 25 years was sort of manufactured, right? Us searching for Barcelona hotels was all a bit, we were working the search around what was possible with the technology at the time. I like to think about the AI now. It's going to enable us to create the perfect search, the agent search. And the agent is going to do everything. I'm not sure why you think agentic booking isn't really here. Okay, maybe it's not here today, but it's here within a week or two or a couple of months. I think from Google probably first.
Probably.
But I think that's moving quickly on the discovery. And you almost get the perfect search where I can put in my preferences, if you like, or my context of this trip. And the agent will do all the work that we used to do before, and it's going to return, let's say, 3 results. And I like to think it might return 1 that would be a big OTA, because why not? They have good products. 1 direct to the hotel, and then 1 maybe the cheapest, some deal site or something. But not 10 and not 20, maybe 3, maybe 5.
Do consumers, I have to jump in there, because do consumers want that? I remember a few years back, this was more on the business travel side, but Booking.com, corporate travel, presented sort of 3 hotels on the site to business travelers, and they, to a man, did not want it. They wanted the choice. They wanted the options. Because how far, in your argument, and I understand that you're a first mover and you love this stuff, you know, you're an evangelist almost, but how far is the rest of the pack going to follow people like you?
Well, I would argue that 3.5 years ago, I don't want 3 choices because I don't believe those are the 3 best choices for me. I believe that's the OTA feeding me. It's the highest bidders. But my agent is my agent, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, it works for me. And it will go out and search millions of properties and show the best 3. And I can click on more if I want, but I believe I'll trust my agent, it's my trusted partner now, to do all the work. And it'll find the cheapest and the best for me. And if I say no, show me 10 more. But I think we only wanted more results because we didn't trust the 3 that were coming up.
So let me jump in here, because I think what we agree is, that is, I think, undeniable today, is to say that the whole discovery and research phase of travel is massively being disrupted by the LLMs, right? So that's a no-brainer, and I think that is something that we will keep seeing expanding, right? The question for me is, how deep will that LLM kind of go in the shopping experience, right? And I think here is when I speak of agentic commerce, and perhaps it's even important to define what is agentic commerce.
You did make that point in your piece about, do people really know what agentic commerce is?
Well, that's the point. And we are discussing on an industry level, don't even ask the final end customer, but I mean, from my point of view, commerce means transaction, right? Agentic transaction means that the agent has a kind of agency to do it by himself without
permission.
Yeah, exactly. So which is a really bold move, especially for travel, where there's so much emotional and involvement in your experience, and also obviously there are usually very high booking values, right? So my point is that I do believe, and that was also part of the whole idea of why certain industries or certain verticals in travel are more risky than others, is that depending on the nature of your service, it's going to be much, much harder to be disrupted end-to-end by the agentic revolution, which might happen for other type of, more spontaneous, low booking or low transaction values, products like fashion, beauty, healthcare.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to disrupt the whole flow. It needs to disrupt the funnel at the top, at the Google or the ChatGPT. And that, if we can agree that is getting disrupted, because my search is now my agent searching. Whatever happens after that, it's already been decided now. I'm down to 3 immediately.
Yes, but what I disagree is that the decision-making of which are the offers that I give to the, let's say, end user, will significantly be different to what it is today in Google search. That I disagree. And again, why? Because it's still a money game. And I do believe that at the end of the day, especially when it's Google, and especially with all of the tech stack they have already, and how they are merging all of the actual traditional search campaigns, AdWords, keywords campaigns, into something that is fully AI driven with PMax, AI Max for search, road match. It's literally, they have all the building blocks already to be able to monetize the actual agentic flow in the same way that they're monetizing today the search flow. So at the end, the winner will be the one who is capable to optimize the marketing budget in that environment. And I would argue that the Booking.com of the travel industry will be the winners in that front as well.
So I don't want to give anything, but I'll give you a little bit for that. There will be a space for ads. We all agree there'll be a space for ads, whether they're at the top or the side, there'll be a space for ads. And Booking and Expedia will do well.
Yeah, and Expedia's just started those clickable ads, hasn't it? So, I mean, that's probably a sort of a mark of what's to come.
But the point is, and this is something I also mentioned in another article, think of it, even if the user wants to stay in the conversational funnel and even go further down, Google will never be the merchant of record. I think that we all can agree.
Well,
right?
But that's what I want to ask you. Won't the LLMs feel the same way about becoming the merchant of record? Why, when you've got this whole travel industry which has put the infrastructure in place for years and years, surely the LLMs will feel the same way about tapping into what's already there?
Well, but the point is that at the end of the day, these big AI gatekeepers, they don't want to go into the messy servicing world of travel. So they will just try to monetize it the same way they've been monetizing it in search before. Now, the key for me point of view is that at the end of the day, this already happened in the past. Meta search, they did facilitating booking process. Even Google had book by Google in their Google Flight. It didn't work. The people still wanted to go to the merchant site to finish the booking. And I take it that potentially when the conversational experience goes so much better, and in Google they can make it multimodal, they can create you a customized video for your hotel that you want to book beforehand so that you see how it looks and feels. So AI will obviously make the experience much, much better over time, right? Will not just be a text-written kind of exchange chatbot. But the key is, even if that happens, at the end, the merchant of record would still be either the hotel chain or the OTA who had the biggest bidding power to actually get the number one position, right?
Yeah, and that's not broken. So yeah, we agreed LLMs won't touch that. Google won't touch that again. I think they've stated that publicly in enough places. So the final booking, goes to that hotel or OTA, and that's all fine. There's a margin. There's a bit of margin there for everyone. Yeah. But my argument against the Meta, not against the Meta, but my argument on the next stage of the Meta is, and Google Travel's still this way today, there's a long list on things to do. If I type in Colosseum, there's probably 30 things now, 30 lists of Colosseum tickets from low to high. I don't need that in an agentic, right? I don't need 30. So there's 30 OTAs surviving on that traffic partially, which I believe will go to 3. I'm saying 3, it may be 5, it doesn't matter, but not 30.
Which is kind of in line with my expectations, right? What I mean, at least exposed is that the second tier OTAs and the rather small individual
kind
hotels
of come in the final line of your piece. You do kind of come to that, you do converge on the second tier OTAs actually being the quickest to lose out at greatest risk right now. You both do. You know, one thing I wanted to ask, we're all here because we believe in the technology, we believe in the digital evolution. And your talk of getting these 3 results back, I find interesting because I've got to think that the OTAs and the bigger companies have so much data and they're getting so good with data that can't the 3 results that you surfaced actually involve personalization from that OTA in the background that's not just your agent? No, because
I hate. You're going to wind me up here with the personalization.
Well, I've got my elbows.
And Google is going into this personalization as well, and that winds me up. They're going to use all my Gmail history and all this nonsense, which I think is just noise. For me, my personalization is it's 1 or 2 lines of me, which is my memory or my agent's. It's my memory, and it's the context for this trip, and that's it. And I can change the context in 2 or 3 lines, and that's all I need for my next trip. I don't need this nonsense 10 years of booking history, I don't think, to give me a better result.
Agree, but you go first.
Yeah, lots of buts and finger waving here. And
no, I would say though that even though if you don't like it, I mean, Google knows more about us than anybody else, probably than my mother, right? So at the end of the day, with Google Wallet, Google Maps, Google, Android, you name it, they know everything. And at the end of the day, that's why also still people, even if they hate it, they keep using their biggest performance channel marketing is search, right? Because it performs, and with all of the data they have, they can make it extremely laser focused, right? Now, what I mean with this is that at the end of the day, personalization will start at the AI gatekeeper side, right? Because and I do believe that you will over time have an AI assistant, and I do believe that probably Google is the best one positioned to become the Gemini Spark and personalization and all these things, so that you will have your Google AI in your hand, in your smartphone, and basically he will do the things for you, and he will pick the 3 choices because he knows you better than Booking.com or than any other hotel chain or airline in the world, right?
Surely Gemini is a female. No?
Okay, I'm going off topic a little bit. Okay. I want to ask you, I was talking to Stas from Revolut this morning, and of course he built Swifty in Lufthansa Innovation Hub, and his kind of vision, or the way he thinks that things will play out, is that actually you will book travel from practically any interface that you can think of. It could be your Slack, your email, I mean potentially anywhere, a page anywhere. Where do you sit on that?
I suppose I could see that. It's like when Meta I forgot what Meta's LLM was called. They put it on WhatsApp and Facebook, and a bit of a weird thing to do, and nobody used it. Right? We don't go and do prompts in Meta. I don't think anybody's done one. I think almost the same. I'm one click away from Slack to ChatGPT. I'm one click away to Booking.com, if you like. I don't feel the need to stay on this platform, but it could work as long as I know my agent has access to that Slack channel. That's all I really care about. As long as my agent's involved, my AI agent's involved, then I believe it can happen anywhere. But also I'll go one click away where I've got this other channel which can do images and videos and bring in my context and my menu on the left. I don't see why I would sit in Slack and do that.
I'm just proposing a multiple of interfaces. You could be anywhere. I'm quite interested to know from you, you put, or perhaps you do already, or you plan to put a lot of trust in your agent. But that's trust that you won't put in current platforms. Why is that?
No, I wouldn't say that. I book most of my accommodation on Booking.com. And you know what? If I'm in Europe and I book a lot in Europe and I travel a fair bit, I trust Booking.com's got close to the best price.
Yeah.
I trust they've got almost all the accommodation on the platform. I trust my credit card with them. I usually just go straight to Booking and do it. So
on the inventory side, Mario's probably right. The unique inventory and how they'll slice and dice and present it.
And you'd have to show me, my agent would have to show me it's got Booking plus some that Booking didn't find. I know it's out there. There's probably some direct stuff that people don't want to work with Booking. I mean, that happens. If my agent can find that, now my agent's got all of Booking and all this other stuff. So Booking's now on the side for me. All my trust's all with my agent now, immediately.
But all that other stuff, you trust your agent, but do you trust the other stuff that it's presenting?
I trust my agent to go and find out if it's trustworthy and read the reviews and make sure it's not a scam, or make sure it exists, or make sure all these other things. And it should come, maybe that's one of the three. Listen, we got this third one, it actually looks really good, but it's slightly risky. We can't verify it fully.
Right.
And then it's my decision to take a little bit of a gamble on this one.
But what I do think on that front, and I kind of agree with you, but the key is that in many cases, especially when we get into more highly fragmented supply developed worlds, there is actually a probability that this digital layer will still be an OTA, right? A specialized OTA. I can speak for myself, right? In Travelier, what we do is we basically digitalize all of the small, medium bus and ferry operators of Southeast Asia, right? So there's no other way to find that content. It's not online. There's no website, bookable website. So you still have to pass through it. Now, will you do it as a brand or as a, let's say, part of an embedded experience in a chatbot? That's fine, but you still have to do the actual booking and the servicing on that OTA who owns the content, because it's the, let's say, system of record of that.
So we need pipes. We agree on that. We do need pipes, because that ferry operator, it's a whiteboard probably, or chalkboard, and there's exactly. So we need pipes, but those pipes are 2% margin, not 25, 30%. That's the difference, right? All those other players in the middle, potentially, if I'm using my ChatGPT, it's bypassed Google and it's bypassed the OTA. It's gone straight to the pipes and booked it, and you've taken 2%. But there's 25% that Google and Booking.com didn't get for that.
It depends. If the AI agent is Gemini and Google behind.
Yeah, then there's some margin.
But isn't that why the GDSs and the meta searches are now trying to present themselves as that pipe? You know, that's how they're trying to position themselves.
I think that's one of the hypotheses, right? Meta search per se cannot compete in terms of search and comparison kind of capabilities to AI. Therefore, they either become the middle layer that aggregates and makes, in a sense, the whole experience more efficient, both from a tech side, interference side, speed, and so on, and then get a small cut of the transaction, or I don't see much filter for that.
I worry about the cut of the transaction, because every time we add another layer or a player or a partner or whatever, the cut of the transaction gets smaller. And as we all know, travel operates on really thin margins. So what happens? Because there's got to be somebody's got to get cut out somewhere along the way.
I think I would have stood here 20 years ago and argued that commissions would be bid down over the last 20 years, and we'd now be at 10%, 15%. And that obviously didn't happen. Whether that's because Google became close to a monopoly in almost every case. Maybe they held on to that power. Now we're going into a place, it looks like there's going to be 3 LLMs in the West, which is great, right? From where we were 3 years ago, where it looked like it might be ChatGPT just taking over. So if there are 3, we might be in a strong place to start pushing down the margins on the middlemen, which is more money for the operators.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think everyone would be happy with. Maybe not everyone, obviously, not the middlemen. But.
We touched on inventory a bit. I think I'm on the fence about bundling complexity, because I think, yes, they could do it, but I also think that they might also just buy in the infrastructure.
I see 2 things there. First of all, yes, of course, potentially they can do it, but is it, let's say, efficient from a tech standpoint of view of trying to aggregate everything, or having this kind of aggregator that already bundled it for you? And there's a legal thing as well. In Europe at least, there's the travel directive, the EU travel directive, that if you actually do a transaction of 2 services in a same session, it becomes a 2-operator package.
Yeah, although they
all
are
the liabilities,
softening that. They have extended that. It's
so far,
under review.
Yeah, but it is still the reality that we experience even as an OTA, when we try to cross-sell from a flight to a hotel. If it's in the same session, you are actually becoming liable as a tour operator. Who will be the liable part when you're an AI agent?
Can I click buy 2 products now, and the button just has 2 different transactions?
It does, and still is counted legally by the EU as a tour
about
operator.
that?
Yeah.
It might change, but so
It
far,
might. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
That is a constraint.
How quickly do the LLM platforms become digital gatekeepers?
Well, they are already.
No, but I mean named digital gatekeepers, as Google
You
is.
mean, okay.
Yeah, under the
That's
digital.
a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that OpenAI is, technically speaking, with the number of the 1 billion users they have, I would argue that probably in Europe already a digital gatekeeper, and I don't know what frequency the EU will refresh it, but for sure they will. And Anthropic, I mean, it's more corporate focused, but I would argue probably as well.
Yeah,
So they will become...
I'm keen to see the pushback on that from the LLMs, because it's going to be epic kind of battle between the EU regulators and the LLMs.
They'd love that. They can have unlimited gatekeepers. You can have Booking and Google and all LLMs and just have...
Well, maybe Booking will then, Glenn will come in, well, clearly we're no longer a gatekeeper, because look, it's all going through that channel.
Exactly.
Loyalty, we didn't touch on loyalty, and I think it's important, because you think that that's, well, essentially you think that's a load of hogwash. I quite like the idea of my loyalty programs that give me something, not just something cheap or a discount, which is the avenue you were going down. So why do you not think that the loyalty program could be a decent moat?
Because loyalty, I think ultimately it's about, and Booking sort of does this, it's really just cash, right? It's just a discount. And it's either there on my loyalty, whatever level I'm on, or I'm going to get $20 every... I went to Booking this morning, and then I went off and booked something on Trip, and I immediately got an email from Booking with my $20 thing. I thought that was a bit... But anyway, but they convert it to cash already. Points, my points and my 1 free stay with every 10, I think in people's heads, they convert that to cash. And the AI agent's going to go through all of that loyalty stuff, and an upgrade's worth X, and your points are worth X, and it's going to add them all up and say, we've kind of done a rough estimate of the loyalty points you would have got on here, and it's still not as much as the discount this one's offering.
But then it might come down to the actual service that supplier gives you, right?
I think exactly my point
Apples
is,
against apples,
I would say that loyalty, if you look at it from a pure financial point of view, to a certain degree that can be disrupted. But I would also argue on the pure financial point of view, metasearch does kind of the same job, right? That's why you have a segment of your customers that are bargain hunters, right? They don't care about loyalty, they just want the cheapest. And metasearch did a decent job for that, right? True, the metasearch was not able to calculate what were your redemption points of the mileage and so on. So potentially there's some incremental benefit within an eye. But I think also, and that comes back to loyalty is not only financial kind of rewards. It is also trust. It is also that when they served me the last time and there was a fuck up, they actually did the right thing to fix it. And that for me is perhaps becoming even more important in this future world, right? So that you will ask your AI agent to go to this brand because you really trust them and you think they have a good price ratio in terms of quality versus what they offer you. So I would argue that there will be a segment, but this segment of today is served by the meta search mostly, and they will be moving to whatever AI agent is the most efficient one. But the ones that today are rather kind of in certain verticals, at least loyal to a certain brand, they will probably not change.
I don't mind that. I don't mind being loyal to a brand.com hotel. That's fine. I understand that because they do take care of you. It's the points and the different levels of discounts. I think those just get aggregated down to a cash value, and my agent says, listen, this whole thing they're doing with their points actually doesn't count for that much.
So then maybe, AI really helps to simplify loyalty programs, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, not potentially not for the brand. If their kind of loyalty scheme is a little bit...
It's a bit smoke and mirrors.
Exactly, that can be the case. But again, I am not, obviously, I don't know the exact details of this. But my point is that most of the larger, I would argue, OTAs, anyhow, there's no complex point scheme, right? So it's the Genius 3 levels. So it's
10 nights, whatever.
It's kind of rather upfront, and therefore, as long, again, as you trust the brand, you think that the overall kind of price offer is competitive, there's no reason for you to change, and you will tell your AI agent to do it for you, but to do it on that specific brand. Okay,
final arguments here. For your argument, I sort of looked at both opinion pieces, and I thought, well, for your argument, something like token economics could get in the way. That would be something that could be a barrier to the way you're thinking. Do you agree? Is there something else that you think that could potentially change the way you're thinking?
I mean, I think we're still in the early stages, right, of this whole revolution, and we don't know how it will play out. And I think I was also discussing this today with some colleagues. We don't have yet a really AI consumer-facing killer feature, right? I mean, I was thinking of when internet came. We are old enough, right, to remember internet. The first time you send an email was like magic, right? Oh man, I'm sending this to somebody who can read it in real time. Or when mobile came and you use Google Maps for the first time, it was mind-blowing. You have a GPS in your pocket, you know where you are. It's AI, yes, chatbots are great. Otherwise, there's no killer feature yet on the AI side. And one of the, I think, potential killer features might be a more multimodal chatbot experience, right? Where again, Google creates a video for you of the destination, where you're gonna go, the hotel you're gonna take, and it's going to be customized in the same session based on the changes you've had with the AI, with Google, Gemini, Spark, or whatever. So that, for me, could be a game changer, because that could even also enhance conversion, obviously make it much more attractive. But otherwise, today, if you ask me what is mind-blowing from the consumer-facing side of AI.
But you don't think the cost of AI is going to slow us down a bit?
I don't think, because at the end, I mean, tokens are going to get down, the Chinese models are getting better. We're going to all obviously move back from the token maxing hype and get all more efficient. And Google will find out. Google owns the whole bloody tech stack, right? From the microprocessors to the cloud, everything is Google owned. At least they have the full tech stack, so they know how to basically work on the economics to make it efficient for them.
What's the counter argument to your scenario? Is it because I sort of think it's time frame in many ways. You're super optimistic that in a couple of weeks it'll be agent booking, but I think maybe we're not that close.
I'm probably more. I've probably pushed a little bit hard on the time frame. None of us know the time frame, and I pushed hard early. Somewhat because I enjoy pushing buttons and winding people up. Yeah. So it has taken a while. We're 3.5 years in now, and you could. It has changed a lot. The AI overviews have changed everything at Google. People's traffic is down 50-60%. That's no one ever thought that would ever happen with Google. So it's changed. But the agentic piece hasn't really changed that much. But I think we're getting really close. I know ChatGPT pulled back from their agentic commerce protocol.
I got to believe they're going to come back with something.
Yeah, and that wasn't a travel thing, and everyone reported it wasn't a travel thing. It was just a commerce thing. Google's about to
OTA share prices, didn't it?
For a minute, now back down again. But but now Google's coming out with theirs, so that's going to be here any time now, and that'll get extended out, and it's Yeah.
And we already, to your point, we do trust Google, Wallet on our phones, etc.
Yeah.
They connect everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be end to end. We have this whole argument that it's going
About what really is
How
an
deep into
agentic
the funnel.
booking.
Yeah. I can be involved at 3 or 4 points in time. I do want to look at the hotel photos before I book it. I do want to see where it is on the map. I do want to be involved somewhat before it just goes and spends all my money. And I think that's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that as an endpoint.
The human in the loop thing is probably happening even in the agentic world. I guess the key is, will it change their supplier mix or the kind of the winners? Will there be winners and losers, or will it be just same thing than Google search but in a different environment? We don't know, but I think that it's gonna not significantly change, other than some of the second tier OTAs, meta search players, and perhaps smaller hotels who will struggle to actually be visible for their LLMs, right?
Gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us in the PhocusWire studio.
Thank you.